Let me see how we taste here. I love me some fried redfish. So tomorrow for lunch, I plan on having me some fried redfish. And these are all relatively small, but they always got like a bloodline right here that runs down it. And I always try to cut that off. So basically on your first cut, you can kind of go on either side of it. So at your first cut, you can pretty much clean all of it off of this one. Then you just got to worry about this one. And what I like to do is just take my knife kind of on an angle and just kind of cut down on all the way down that bloodline. And it just gives the fish a lot better flavor, I find. Otherwise, it gives it kind of a funky taste, I find. So there you go. That's the bloodline. And like I said, this piece is already small enough. We don't really have to do nothing more with that one. The big one, we already got the bloodline cut off of it. Of course, there's no bones in it. So what I like to do when I tenderloin any kind of fish, catfish, redfish, bass, if you got a thick piece of meat like this, I always try to take my knife on a nice flat angle. And when I cut the tenderloin, I'll try to cut it on an angle. That way you're left with a nice thin piece on both sides. And then when you cut your next piece off of it, of course you got the angle that we just cut, I'll reverse my knife and cut the angle the other way. So, you know, it's kind of like a little, both sides got an angle on it now. It just to me, it makes the fish fry a lot better. And I'm gonna make this one a little bit smaller too. So, you know, got a nice small, you know, piece. So that's the trick I find to make a nice crunchy fried fish is to, when you're cutting the tenderloin, cut them on an angle. If you got a real thick one, you can actually cut it in half first. And that'll make it just, you know, a lot thinner. But, you know, all redfish got a bloodline. And I always cut that out. It just gives it a horrible taste with it being left in there. So let me get all that done and I'll show you the next step. So you can actually do this right when you're about to fry it, or I'm gonna just do it overnight. So got all my meat with the bloodline taken out. Cut it into some pretty small frying pieces. And I like to, I don't add nothing crazy to it for fish. I just take some plain old yellow mustard. And I don't really measure it. I just put enough to where you can coat the fish really good with it. I'd say maybe probably a fourth of a cup, I'm guessing. And for my seasoning, I don't use too much craziness. I do put a little garlic powder. And you know, probably a teaspoon or so. And also some Slap Your Mama Cajun seasoning. And just probably the same amount, maybe a teaspoon or so. And that's pretty much it. Basically just go ahead and mix everything together. Might have to add a little bit more mustard to it before. So like I said, just season it to taste. And I just use basically those two things. Slap Your Mama and a little bit of garlic powder. And I don't usually buy a fish fry. I usually just take a 1-to-1 ratio of cornmeal and all-purpose flour, and just put a little bit of Cajun seasoning or salt and pepper in it. You know, just so it's seasoned a little bit. And that's pretty much it. That's how I fry fish. Like I said, I'm gonna just let this sit in the refrigerator overnight. May have a little bit of water that collects in it. So right before I pass it in the cornmeal, I'll probably squirt a little bit more mustard in it. But this ought to marinate overnight and it'll give it a really good taste. So, but usually I just do it right when I'm about to fry it. You don't really have to do it overnight. So here's my fish. This has been in the refrigerator overnight. And that's how we look. Got a little moisture in it, but it's not a lot. So I'm not going to add any more mustard to it. And this is a third of a cup of all-purpose flour, a third of a cup of cornmeal, and to that I'm gonna add just a little bit Cajun seasoning to it, just to kind of get the a little seasoning, you know, in it. And probably about a half a teaspoon I think would be plenty. Actually I might go a little more than that. So I'm gonna do one teaspoon. And that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna add anything else to it. And you can use a Ziploc bag or a brown paper bag. And I just kind of dump everything in it. That way when you're all done, just toss it in the garbage after. And basically we're just gonna drop the fish in the bag, shake it up, and drop it in the fryer to fry them. And I tend to like mine kind of dry, so I don't really time it. I just kind of look at it. When it gets a nice brown on it, that's when I call it done. So let me show you that next step. And basically I just take a handful of my fish, drop in the bag, and basically just shake the bag. And then we just drop them in. That's how we look. Like I said, I like mine on the dry side, so I might fry mine a little bit more than what most people do. But that's the way I like it. I don't really time it. I just, when they get to a nice and brown, that's when I call them good. That'll be it. I probably won't fry all of this. And basically when they're golden brown to your liking, I just kind of touch them, and when they got a nice crust on them, call it good. I like using this colander and my stainless steel bowl set up here. I find it gets the grease out of them pretty good because they can drip down. And just, you know, basically just as you put them on the colander, just let them sit for a little while. Then you can put them in a pan with paper towels or whatever. But I find this gets the majority of the grease out of them. And like I said, just cook it to how you like your fish. I tend to like mine kind of dry, on the dry side. And that's pretty much it. I'm only going to do one batch. And now my house won't smell because I did everything outside. So there you go. Let me show you the next step. And if you got some extra fish that you defrosted, but you don't have, you know, you're not going to fry them all, just take you a pan, line it with aluminum foil, and I just sprayed a little bit of non-stick cooking spray in it. And just take your fish and just roll them in your bag with the mixture, the cornmeal and the flour, and then basically just in a single layer, just layer your fish in your pan like such. Try not to let them touch. Just do the whole, you know, just stack them up in there. And freeze it. And as soon as they freeze, not really all the way, but almost, then you can take them out pretty easy and put them in a gallon Ziploc bag and just stick them in the freezer. And when you want fried fish, they're pretty much battered and ready to go. All you got to do is, you know, drop them in. So, works out pretty good. My mom showed me that actually. Well, I don't know what the poor people are having today, but I know what I'm having. So we got basically a nice salad. Feta cheese, red onions, avocado, tomato. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of do like that with them. That's what I'm having. And just a little bit of ketchup on the side, you know, for the fish. So, like I said, the reason I cut them the way I cut them is so you got nice thin pieces on both sides of it. So when you know, it's nice and crispy. Otherwise, if they were thick, they wouldn't be real crispy on the ends. This way, they got a nice crispiness on both ends. So, let me see how we taste here. I love me some fried redfish. Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Thanks.